So continue on that, a couple of things. Like you said, that engagement, right?
Yeah.
So you talked about engagement, where we have people commenting and commenting back.
Yeah.
TikTok sometimes can get toxic, isn't it?
Yeah, I completely agree. I think that's the same with any platform. But definitely TikTok, yeah.
Is it?
Yeah.
Like, how do you deal with it? I mean, you're so young, and did you have to face a lot of negative?
I think I did more when I did like more comedic content,
Okay.
right? Because when you're doing comedic content, a lot of jokes are kind of critiques, right? And like me as a Tamil guy, right? I feel a lot more comfortable when a Tamil guy is making a joke, which like the butt of the joke is like something with Tamil society,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
I'd feel less comfortable, right? You know, me personally, I'm not like this, but a lot of people will be from another country is making the same kind of joke, right? People will get defensive.
Yeah.
And to a certain extent, rightfully so, right?
Yeah.
And I understand that. I think because of that, I positioned myself uniquely, right? Where I like kind of equally like made fun of everybody, right? So it was like non-discriminatory in that regard. But because of that, I also kind of got heat from the kind of like really fired up kind of nationalistic people on like all different sides of the spectrum, right?
Do you think that's from some organized systems that are commenting back, or is it more individuals?
But I think also equally with that backlash, and if not more, you'll also get a lot of support. You know what I mean?
Oh, okay.
From, you know, people who are, you know, kind of welcoming of that, right? Because even if it's critical and it's coming from somebody who's not from the same cultural paradigm as you, it's also shedding light on whatever that underlying problem is or whatever it is. It's shedding some light.
So you actually learn from the comments about something more deeper.
A lot of times, yes. Because a lot of times there's actually like a good discussion which is prompted up by those kind of comedy content that I make. But because usually it was comedic, but it was poking fun at something in society which was kind of problematic, right?
Okay.
But I've shifted away from that content just because I think just by the nature of it, right? It's going to be inflammatory to some people, right? And I'm presenting it in the best way possible. It's going to be inflammatory to some people, right? I want to elicit conversation in good faith, right? So I want to be able to bring people from opposing paradigms to kind of sit down and have a chat at my coffee table, essentially.
Yeah.
Right? Like that's kind of the outcome that I really like. You know what I mean? Not just opposing paradigms, but like I'll give you an example, right? I make a good amount of Punjabi videos, right? And not just about like Indian Punjab, like our Punjab. So East and West Punjab, right? Make a lot of videos, right? So, and I think that's also influenced from the paradigm that I kind of had in regards to like Punjabi influence within my own life, right? I have Punjabi friends who are like Indian, right? So I have like a good amount of like Sikh and Hindu Punjabi friends. And then on the opposing side, I don't want to say opposing, opposite side.
Pakistan.
Yeah, Pakistani side, I have a lot of Muslim friends and a lot of Christian friends, right?
Oh, okay.
See, that's an okay moment, right?
Yeah, big enough to...
Yeah. There's a really
lot.
substantial, large Christian community in Faisalabad.
Okay.
Faisalabad. And in like Punjab in general, right? So a lot of Punjabi Christians are there, right? So Punjab and then Karachi is probably the two places that you'll see most Christian presence in Pakistan. Interestingly, right? I think you would find this very interesting. In Karachi, right? Since before partition, there's been a Tamil neighborhood.
Wow.
In Karachi, right? And Karachi is kind of like, when we talk about like Mumbai, we recognize it as like, oh, it's like very multicultural. There's people from everywhere.
Yeah.
Right? Karachi is like, because of that, that's how much of kind of that local native population has kind of been decreased. Not decreased, but like so many people have come in that it's become like the cultural fabric is kind of like reknit itself, right? That's a better way to put it. But yeah, so back to what I was talking about this Tamil community. It's a Tamil Hindu community, right? Tamil Hindu community. Because it's been there pre-partition, right? And what's interesting is there was a Tamil like pastor who went to this kind of community. And then basically because of that, the Christians in Karachi, they have like this reverence for like Velankani.
Wow.
So that's like such an interesting thing. So as a Tamil person, when you think about this, it's like, what, right? And not only that, right? Because of the, you know, like Hinduism and, you know, Christianity, especially if you go like south, like and even if you talk to like Sri Lankan Tamils, right? It's like kind of very interwoven, especially in like a lot of community, like Nadar community, like they intermarry a lot, right? So then you'll see kind of how Christianity kind of weaves itself into like Hindu theology. So you have a lot of those Tamil Hindus who also have a reverence for like Velankaniyamma, right? And then the same thing also you'll see for the Sindhi Hindus in Karachi, because it's like a lot of them also kind of have this reverence for Velankaniyamma. Less than the Tamil Hindus, but it's very interesting, right? So, yeah, I think I got off on a bit of a tangent there. But
that's actually, you're bringing up a point which I wanted to ask, especially for first generation immigrants.
Yeah.
I hate to say, but we were brought up in a time where Pakistan was almost presented as an enemy, right?
Yeah.
Especially when we were there in India.
Yeah.
But after coming over here, I don't see as much. Don't do that.
Yeah.
But somebody growing up over here, do you even sense that, or is it completely oblivious to you?
Do I sense that, or is it completely oblivious to me? I think I don't sense that, because I think that, like, here's the thing, right? Our paradigm and then the way that we're presented Pakistan is we're presented the issues of Pakistan, the problems of Pakistan, from the aspect of, like, if you're socialized as an Indian person, right, with Indian media. And if you look at Pakistani people, right, it's the exact same thing, but with India. So one thing I really like about, I talk to a lot of Pakistani uncles, actually. One thing I really like about them is, right, they're very good at criticizing India, right? And then likewise, right, I talk to a lot of Indian uncles, they're very good at criticizing. But another thing is, if you talk to those same uncles, right, the Indian uncles are also very good at criticizing India.
Okay,
right?
That's good, yeah.
Because I'm an Indian person, and I'm like whatever, right? But also these Pakistani uncles, they're also very good at criticizing Pakistan, right? So, and I think when you have the kind of discourse here, you're removed from both of those countries as like you're not filled with like this nationalistic fervor when you're like getting chai with your friends, right? So like my dad, right, his like who he gets chai with, it's one uncle I told you about, and then one other Tamil guy, right? So the three of them. And I like to have chai with them. It's nice, right? And I definitely know a lot more about like Pakistani history and just different cultures of Pakistan and languages than the average Indian guy, let alone Tamil guy, right?
Totally.
So I think in that regard, it's fascinating, and I like listening to and hearing about this kind of stuff. And generally, the discussions that they have, it's very open. Right.
Okay.
And I noticed that even here too, right? The discussions between Indian and Pakistani people, it's pretty open, right? Because both Indians and Pakistanis are willing to be very critical of their own countries when they're comfortable, right? But you have to be put in a situation where, people are able to admit their faults, and they're able to also they're able to be self-critical.
Yeah.
And I think that's a really important thing. And another thing is, there's a lot of good things in both of these countries, which we don't know about each other, right? And because of that, we always think of our country as like kind of morally righteous, right? So we don't know, we're presented one side of history, on both ends of the story, right? And it's nice to, if you put those two halves together, you get a much more cohesive and comprehensive idea of history. And I think it's really important for everyone to do that.